All right, guys. I made it back. I know that y'all probably thought that I was gone, that I wasn't going to be doing this channel any longer. I do want to remind you all, I do this channel, it's a magical channel. I look at it that way. And as I go through this particular discussion, you guys will see what I've actually been doing, and it'll make more sense to you. I'll post on this channel when I feel a need to, when I feel that it's the right time. And mainly it's because the human mind is not capable of taking a look at all of the ramifications or everything that goes into a situation. And I'm going to talk about wants a little bit here, and I'm going to explain further what I'm talking about. So if I decide that I want something in life, and hopefully for you all, it's to do the great mystery, to master yourself, to move beyond this plane. I'm hoping that that's what you all are wanting within your life. But I'm going to take this down to the mundane here. Let's say that I decide that I want to change careers. I want to change my job. Remember, this can be used towards anything, okay? I want to change my career. For the average man, what he's going to do is he's going to calculate it out. Okay, I'll need to go to college. I'll need to do this. I'll need to do that. He doesn't understand how karma works, how reality works, how our wants influences the flow of events around us. There is no human way that you can calculate all of the variables that will go in towards getting you what you want. So, let's go to an old saying, okay? And again, I'm going to bring all this together. As you all know, I tend to ramble a little bit, but it all comes together at the end. I just kind of let my mind go where it wants to. You know, there's an old saying, be careful what you want, as you may get it. And I've discussed this before, not quite as much detail as what I'm going to do today. Every want, something you need to understand, every want that you have, whether it's looking at a car and saying, I want that, looking at a woman and saying, I want that, and then looking at another woman and saying, I want that, because she's a beautiful blonde, or this one's a beautiful redhead, or that one's a really cool car. Every want that you have is registered within reality. It has a power in itself. Okay? You have to understand that. And if you look at quantum physics, science is slowly but surely starting to get to that point to where they understand this. In quantum physics, the observer has an influence over quantum particles. So, let's take a look at reality. If this is true, we know for a fact that our reality, the physical universe, is built on pieces attracting together to create bigger pieces, which creates more of a piece. So, we can look at it this way. An intent goes behind a quantum particle. That quantum particle attracts other quantum particles, and it becomes a nucleus, which attracts, even a specific kind of nucleus, which attracts electrons, which are attracted to that specific type of nucleus, which has an intent behind it, which attracts other atoms, and those atoms combine to create a molecule. And that molecule, of course, has that original intent behind it. So everything is built off of intent. So every time that I do a want, almost every want has what? Intent behind it. Am I making sense, guys? I know I got a couple of people in here, and I'll go ahead and interact a bit with the chat. Am I making sense? You guys following me so far? There's always a little bit of a delay. But Christopher Collins is usually pretty good about responding. He's the one that keeps you all going. Okay, so I'm making sense. Now, there was, it was really big, what, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago? Christopher says, I intended for you to do another live stream. After this video, go to the beginning, okay? I kind of talk about why I've been holding off a bit on doing it. And another thing that you all need to remember, SNN, and this will come together too. You'll understand why I'm doing that. SNN is taking up a lot of my time. That's my main channel. So I'm kind of having to pull my focus from here and put it on the channel. And it's going to make sense to you why when we start talking about how we need to be able to master our own minds, master our intent to get what we want, which means mastering our wants. I've talked about this before. Remember, everything that you focus on gains power, correct? If I focus on too many things, none of them are really going to have enough power to actually make a difference, since we only have so much focus to go around. So the more I focus on a particular item or a particular goal, the more powerful that goal becomes. So let's start tying this together. Again, 20 years ago, they talked about a book. It was called The Secret. It was the rage. Everybody talked about it. And it was really pretty good. You could tell they went to Buddhist philosophy for it, and a lot of it was correct. But you see, they didn't understand the secret to the secret. If I'm making sense. There was a secret to it. You could do The Secret, and it would work. I mean, they give you enough information at it. But something that they didn't bring up, and the reason why The Secret didn't work for a lot of people, you have to manage your wants. So, yes, the way that they approach towards getting what it is that you wanted is correct. But let's say I decide that I look at my situation and I say, all right, I can afford what I really need is an economy car. And again, I'm going to give you a for instance. I need an economy car. And that's what I'm going to focus on because it'll get me good gas mileage and I'll be able to have enough left over after I do this and that and da-da-da-da-da. It just makes sense to the calculating aspect of the mind. So that's what you decide that you want. And that's what you focus on, and that's what you use The Secret for. You use the techniques behind it. Now, unfortunately, if you see another car goes by and you say, ooh, I want that. And let's say it's a gas guzzler. Let's say it's a big old Hummer, and you think it's really cool, and you want it. And you feel desire behind it. What did I just do? I negated my want, did I not? I put out two conflicting wants because there's no such thing as an economy Hummer. At least not that I know of. Anybody know about an economy Hummer out there? I have put out two negating wants. So let's continue on. Oh, you're noticing that, huh, Collins? Collins says there's a relationship between your great work and focusing on SNN lady. Yeah, there is. And notice I'm still doing the advertisement over to here. Yeah, again, this channel is for people that are meant to see it, or meant to watch it. Okay, where was I? I was starting to get deep into this. Gee, I lost my train of thought. You guys will notice this. When I do a conversation on this, what I'm doing is I'm following threads, and I'll start to follow that thread to explain it to you. And if I don't stay focused on it and I shift my focus, well, I lose the depth or I lose that thread, which means that I then have to re-find it again. It's age also, Alzheimer's. So, okay, we've now what? Again, we've negated that want. So, thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Jonathan. All right, so if what I am saying is true and what I am saying is correct, which it is, by the way, okay, then what we need to do, if you really want to manifest things in your life, you have to be careful and make sure that all of your wants follow a particular path. Now, let's get into detail, okay? Karma. We're going to have to talk about karma. I know I talk a lot about the nature of the mind because the nature of the mind is really what begins your reality. And I've told you before how you think changes your reality, or actually the physical reality. It really does. And this is kind of going into now making a change in our physical reality around us. Now, what is karma? All right. If you take a look at the New Agers, they will tell you karma is a bitch. Karma means what goes around comes around. All right. They need to go to school before they start telling people what Eastern philosophy means. Karma, broken down into its primal essence, is conditions, causes, and effects. Now you will say to yourself, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. What goes around comes around makes more sense, because let's say if I'm an evil person and my karma gets me and I'm reborn, I'll probably be reborn as the victim of that evil person. That is possibly true, but there's more that goes into it. Again, it's conditions, causes, and effects, okay? If the conditions are correct, and remember, what we focus on is what we're going to manifest, whether it's in this particular life or in next lives, or even lives after that. It could be 20 lives from now. What we focus on now will probably, especially, and again, it depends on how much focus you put into it, will manifest at some point or another. So if I'm a really evil person and I'm taking advantage of innocent people, okay? Let's say I was an evil dictator and I just killed people all the time. Well, death and being evil was my focus, which means my victims were my focus, were they not? I would probably spend a lot of time thinking about how to get around my victims. I would start to think about this and that. I would put a lot of focus into what? Being a victim. Now, what am I doing? I am actually creating a want. Remember, wants always have intent. They have focus behind them. So I am intending to understand how my torture is going to hurt my victim. You see what I mean? By understanding or trying to become a part of my victim or seeing it from my victim's perspective, I am now what? Because I'm wanting to see it from their perspective. I am now creating a want. I'm putting focus into it. This would be how, in a next life or maybe many lives, it really, again, we'll get in more into conditions, causes, and effects, karma in a second. But probably at some point in the life of my spirit, I'm going to experience being a victim. Now, there's two reasons behind it. Remember, in reality, in the life journey of our spirit, is to discover that wants are empty. Okay? That reality, in reality, you're really not going to find permanent happiness. Okay? You're not. And anybody that's been happy, and all of you have been happy at one time or another, has always turned into sadness, correct? I mean, nobody is ever happy all the time. But at that same point, we want to be happy all the time. So in the physical reality, happiness can only be found for generally for selfish reasons. We're happy because we got what we want. Does that make sense? So now, what will happen is our spirit at some time or another will say to itself, all right, it's time to experience being a victim. Perhaps there's a happiness in that because being the victimizer didn't give me happiness. And look how much I could learn from being a victim. You know, there's a lot that goes into that. Now, how karma actually works. Remember, what does karma mean? Karma means conditions, causes, and effects. For instance, your spirit is not going to experience being the innocent victim until the conditions are correct. Conditions meaning flows of events that are currently going on. In other words, interactions with other people. How do those interactions come together to where everybody is getting what their destiny is? Okay? Now, so. I just had a sip of my coffee. Remember, people, this is relaxed. I take my time doing it, but it's worth getting a cup of coffee, relaxing, and listening. All right. So where was I? Hang on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so this is so important to understand, okay? Conditions, causes, and effects. It's what rules the entire, our physical universe. Excuse me. If I am not born into royalty, I am not going to be the king, am I? Conditions are not correct. I could try to take over the kingdom. There's always possibilities. But the odds are me getting a force together strong enough to go into Britain and overthrow the Queen is probably pretty low. I don't think that that's going to happen. Perhaps there's another kingdom where I could have that happen, but not when it comes to Britain. So generally speaking, if I'm not born into royalty, the conditions are not correct for me to be the King of England, because I'm not born into that. But let's say, now let me give you, no, actually, let's go ahead and follow that thought, okay? Let's take a look at karma. I say I want to be the King of England. Karma is not correct, okay? And you got to be careful. Got to be careful what you want. And this includes, remember, when you put it out there into the universe, something that you want, you're going to get it eventually, but you may not get it the way that you want it. The human mind doesn't have the ability, the calculating aspect of the mind, the brain, does not have the ability to be able to calculate out all of the variables. I can say that word, variables. It cannot do so. It can't. It can't know if right now, let's say, the king of Saudi Arabia or the king of a very small country is sick at this particular time, and he's losing power and support, etc., and there's no way for the calculating aspect of the mind to know that, hey, wait, I'm giving this as a for instance, that the populace within that country wants a foreigner in. And if I follow my intuition, if I follow what it is that I feel that I need to do, okay, I will end up being placed in a situation where I will be in the proper spot. I'll be in the proper conditions to be able to receive that effect. Now, again, let's say, I'm going to give this as a for instance. There's a small country. It's a small island. There's 20,000 people that live there, okay? There's a king. It has a king, okay? Now, whether or not you're calling King of England a king or not, point of the matter is it has a king. And you find yourself through various different events, various different activities, which you have no way to calculate out, you find yourself in that country. You find, again, coincidences, synchronicities will start to happen. And you find yourself in a position to where, due to perhaps what it is that you know, due to the fact that you're an American, due to your education or whatever, okay, perhaps you have a certain skill that nobody else has that they decide to make you king, okay? I know this sounds out there, but are you guys following what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to show you is that you cannot come up with the conditions. You cannot come up with the flow of events to get what it is that you want. Is this making sense, or am I too far out there, guys? Okay, so I'm making sense to y'all. Now, if anybody's been following my main channel, you'll see that my channel took off. Okay, I'm getting several million views a day now, or excuse me, a month. And I suspect that based on what I'm seeing, it's going to probably grow to 10 million. Remember I brought this up in January when the channel was still small? Okay, remember I was just restarting up. I was just restarting up SNN and just starting to post here. Remember I told you about that dream I had, when I was a child? And I said that I was told in that dream, if I picked the difficult way, if I picked the great mystery, if I picked understanding the nature of the mind and the nature of reality, that at one point that I would have power, prestige, and money. Remember? But not in a negative way. But it really had to do with understanding reality and understanding the mind. And that would be a side effect of it. Remember. Okay, guys, I said it here before SNN happened. Okay? Well, then I'll... Gilman. I want you guys to know something. The reason I'm putting my focus back on SNN is because it's getting to that point. Should I start getting 10 million views a month, which, by the way, is actually quite reasonable based on the trajectory and how things are going? Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of money. And I will definitely have prestige, would you not say? And I'll definitely have the power to maybe make a difference. Would you guys not agree? I guess they're not agreeing. I'm not hearing anything back. Okay. Jonathan says yes. Thank you for jumping in, Jonathan. Nobody was responding. That was called dead air. Dead air. But here's the funny thing, okay? Now let me tell you how this came about. All of my life, I have wanted to be able to work from home. Okay? I've always wanted that. I've always liked the idea of becoming a star. Okay? Yet again, I wanted to be an actor and all that. The regular stuff. I always have been drawn to that. And I've always been drawn to computers. So, don't you find it interesting? Remember, at a young age, there would be no way that I would be able to calculate out YouTube. There would be no way for me to know that a video that I did of me interacting with the cops, because I'd already gained the skill of interacting with the police, and I've already won in some different cases that I had, that posting that video, because I was actually talking about art to begin with, would start me in on doing videos about the police. Now, there was no way that I could calculate in my own mind 4 years ago when the police accountability was really starting off, that I should go into police accountability. There would be no way for me to calculate that out. But circumstances, for probably about the last 10 years at least, have been moving me in the direction to where, the conditions were correct. Is this making sense? You guys seeing what I'm saying? Conditions, causes, and effects. The conditions were correct for me to be able to post the video, which I have to follow. You have to follow your instincts. You have to follow when you feel that you need to do something. It's how you manifest, or how you bring into reality. Because what you're feeling that you have to do is the strongest karma out. It is the strongest one. What is going to manifest in this world is that karma that's the strongest. At the same time, it's going to look at that karma, and it's going to look at your sub-karmas, your sub-wants. And what reality tries to do is it tries to combine all of your wants together to give you what you want. Does that make more sense? So there would be no way for me to know that. You could say that I was just being lucky as hell, which is very possible. But if you were to look at the flow of events, you would say that's impossible. That just couldn't happen. So I posted the video. And then I got into another altercation with the police, and I posted another video. The next thing I knew, they were getting 2-3 hits. I was like, wow, 2 or 3 people are watching this. And I was just going to post how to sell art on the street. And I ended up having to show how to handle the police when you're selling art on the street. And then the next thing I know, it went up to like 20 or 30. And then it went up to like 30 or 40 people a day that were watching the video. So I said, okay, hey man, they're asking questions about this and that. I'm going to do a video on knowing your rights. And I did those. And now all of a sudden I was getting hundreds of people a day watching. And I just allowed it to expand on its own. But there would, really think about it, there would be no way to calculate that out, correct? People that are successful almost always tell you, and you can be successful too, okay, you can, will almost always tell you that they never expected it. They never saw it coming. They were just in the right place at the right time. And you've done this too. You were at the right place at the right time, let's say if you're married, to meet your girl, to meet that woman that you married, correct? Or you were at the right place at the right time to get a job that puts you in a position to get another job, which puts you in a position to get another job, and maybe finally got you where you needed to go. Are you guys, is this making sense to you all? I don't know. Christopher says, you wanted a way to make a big difference, and YouTube is now a useful tool for that. Maybe you'll be president. I don't know. I doubt that. I'm an ex-con, remember? And I really have no desire to go into politics. I'm not going to get myself that dirtied. I'm not. Again, my main goal in life is to go home, okay? Other side of the veil. Finish up whatever it is that my spirit feels that it needs to do in this life. And I would have to sacrifice entirely too much of who I am to be able to do that. But yes, it is true. I have always wanted to make a difference. But then again, too, Collins, you got to say this. Everybody on this planet wants to make a difference. So I'm not going to say that that's unique to me. Yeah, Gilman says he found my channel by looking up police audits. Stray Dog Exposer. I was just interviewed by the news for my recent interaction with the police. Good for you. Nausman says, yes, I'm making sense. AMC says, yes, I'm making sense. Yes, Occult, I understand everything you're saying. Good, good. Polytrix, he's not a Freemason, though. At least I don't think. Who, me? No, I am not a Freemason. I understand Freemason. And again, guys, Freemasons aren't negative. There's just, just like everything, there's certain groups. You have radicals, and then you have those that are really wanting to, to do the path through Freemason, which works, by the way. I mean, if you really want to follow it and not use what it is that you know to control others, then it really is a way to understand the great mystery. All right. Let's go to questions and answers. We're going into 30 minutes here. Remember, I like to do at least 10, 15 minutes. Is everything that I'm making sense so far making sense to you guys? Do you have questions that'll clarify what I'm talking about today? Because I'm probably going to go more into it in the future. Is that yes, Gilman, you understand, or yes, you have a question? If y'all don't have a question, that's cool. I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and call it a show. And I'll do another one here sooner. Guys, really, I can do them sooner. I think I feel as if SNN has that energy now. It's moving in the proper direction. I don't have to focus as hard on it. And another thing that you guys will learn, too, that thing that you focus on, as you start to get it, as it starts to manifest, you really do got to babysit it. You really do have to focus on it. But then it'll get to a point to where it will have a life of its own. And what you need to do is to learn how to let it go at that point and let it lead you. Generally speaking, most of us, because we use the calculating aspect of the mind and not the wisdom aspect, what we'll do is we'll continue to try to control it and say, oh no, I've got to take it in this direction. Oh no, I've got to take it in that direction. Okay? And it's the calculating aspect of the mind that's doing that. No. What you do is you continue to feel what the proper thing to do is. You continue to wait until you feel a need, that you really need to maybe do something different or go into a different direction. But again, it takes on a life of its own. When it takes on that life of its own, it has its own energy, and now all of the people that are watching the show are now putting their energy into it, which is going to help it grow. Now all I need to do is do the best job that I can and listen to what it is that the show wants to take me. He says, I don't ask questions. Sorry, I am just fly on the wall of life. So long as no one gets in my way, I don't get involved. I'm kind of concerned, though. You do know that flies get swatted, right? Jonathan says your higher self will guide you if you can take the hints. Well, again, no, you are absolutely correct. And when you're talking about higher self, you're also talking about your destiny, okay? Your wants and your desires, again, remember it's karma, conditions, causes, and effects. If your destiny, the reason that you took this life, has a purpose, and if your wants are in conflict, or they conflict with that purpose, you're not going to get it this life. You see? And if we're so focused on what it is that we want, and yet the purpose that we have, the reason that we took this life, what our higher selves want us to do is different, we are still going to do what we are meant to do. There's just a difference, okay? The only difference is you're going to either do it kicking and screaming, or you're going to do it with a smile on your face and say, okay, this is scary. I have no idea how this is going to work out, but man, every other door in my life is closed. I've only got this door open, and that is what your higher self will do. It will close every door around you and only have one door that you can take. So you either say, all right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do it, or it doesn't matter, because the longer you wait to do it, the more difficult it's going to be, or the more pain that you're going to be in to do it. Let's see. I'm toying with the other. See, what do we got? There's no way to live through key. Wait a minute. Your flow is fun. Okay, Gilman. He asks, why don't I ever get the things that I want? Re-listen to this video. This is really all this video is about. I come for the tangents. Your flow is fun. Thanks, man. Keith Perry says, I don't ask questions. All right, I did that. Your higher self will guide you. Gilman, that's no way to live, though, Keith. Found down. Again, the only stupid question is the unasked question. I seem to always do the opposite of what my inner voice tells me is the right thing. Okay, Gilman, but if you ever notice, you end up doing what your inner voice says to do. Eventually. You will. All you're doing is making your life more difficult. You're causing yourself pain. Get some balls, people. You know, take that step. Take that leap of faith. I mean, a lot of time. Listen, okay, there's a saying. I'm on one side of a really dangerous river, okay? I mean, there's rapids. It's really wide. I'm not a good swimmer, all right? But on this side of the river, it's been hunted out. There's nothing to eat. As a matter of fact, I've eaten every grub, every insect, every tuber, every potato within this side of the river. And I look on the other side of the river and I say, holy shit, man. There's like 5 deer right there drinking out of the water. If I just get over to the other side of the river. No, I'm stubborn. I say, I can't cross that river. I can't. So I stay there, and I get hungrier, and I get even more starving, and there's even less food to get. Finally, there's going to be a point. Remember, all the doors are going to close because I am meant to go to the other side of the river. Now, I'm going to start to cross that river. It's going to be uncomfortable. Okay, I may be in some form of danger or another, but I take all the precautions. I have ropes, etc. It's an adventure, okay, and there's an element of danger. But once I reach the other side, I see that, okay, my inner voice was correct. Cross the damn river. Let's see. Key says, I can't type that fast. I upload videos on stuff that happens in life. and my beliefs. They align with this guy's 90% of the time. Thanks, Keith. Christopher, the occult. Mirror universe is natural order, and physical reality is a metaphysical new hypothesis. Yeah, I'm going to be I'm going to change the name of this channel here pretty quick, too. I'm thinking, kind of surprising that you use that term metaphysical, which means that I probably need to go with that, because that's what I was thinking about calling it, metaphysical. Maybe add a little bit to it, but using metaphysics in there, which, again, remember, when something is meant to be done, you're going to get validations. It just may not come in the way that you think. And if you think about it, that's the first time Collins has ever used the term metaphysical. Stray says, you don't receive when you ask or beg. You must learn to command it. Well, I want you to listen to this video from the very beginning, okay? And if not, take a look at my other videos. That's a yes and a no, okay? Mind stuff. Never mind. Stray says, you can do it in the privacy of your own home. Just command it from the universe. Command it from the world. Command it with conviction. Oh, so you're into the magical systems, aren't you? Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Stray, perchance? Or it's Kabbalah, one of the two, I'm pretty sure. At Mind, ask again if he did not see it. Keith says, forcing what you want isn't going to get you what you want, just aversion. Oh, it's okay, Stray. Yeah, take a look at the beginning. Oh, okay. I should have thought of that, too. That's right. That's pretty common with that system, which is good. Again, I had a big talk about Christianity. When I was younger and a little more arrogant and a bigger attitude, I thought most all of Christianity was just a waste of time. The whole faith-based system was wrong. Again, that was me being younger. But I did get to the point to where once I said, wait a minute, hold it. Actually, it does work if you do it correctly. Yeah, I did a video on it, guys. All right, last question. One more question, we're going to call it a day. I'm going to give it 10 seconds. 10, 9. Collins says, for good to exist, evil must. I think the highest angel, convenient terminology, made the sacrifice by choice to take the burden of evil, for good to be able to become real. All right, if we want to go in the almighty concept, okay, if we want to go with that concept of a God, if God is all-powerful and Lucifer, the devil, is evil, why is Lucifer even alive? I mean, according to the Bible, God has wiped out whole civilizations. At one point, wiped out almost the entire planet for being evil, allowing just Adam and a boatload of animals to survive. Why is he here? And one thing that we do have to move past, Christopher, is the concept of good and evil. Evil is only relative to what you want. If it doesn't get you what you want, then it's evil. If it gives you what you want, then it's not evil. One man's avenging angel, I've said this before, and you like this concept. You just haven't gotten it yet. One man's avenging angel is another man's destroying demon. As somebody who's following the path to enlightenment, okay, as somebody who's looking to cross the barrier, you have to move past the concept of good and evil and understand that what your higher self is telling you to do, I mean, within reason. I mean, if your higher self, what you believe is your higher self, is saying, okay, get a bomb and drop it over here and destroy a bunch of people. All right, you're probably a bit off. You're not listening quite to the right voice, but you're getting what I'm saying, okay? You can't look at things in life as good and evil. It's all conditions, causes, and effects. Something good comes out of everything. No matter what it is, something good will come out of it. In fact, I have to do a video on that. I will. In fact, we'll see if I can't do that on the next video. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one to follow, Keith. I like that. Yeah, the do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Yeah. But again, you can't say that the actions of some. If you guys ever notice, like on SNN, okay, I don't approve of what they do, but I still try to do it in a way that's open-minded for people to be able to think. Okay, I try not to overly judge it, although I do want people to be free. That doesn't mean that being oppressed is bad, because there are experiences, strengths that a society, strengths that a person can receive by being oppressed. I've said this before and people don't believe me. Going to prison when I was like 25 was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Yes, I was oppressed. Yes, I was caged. Yes, I had lost my freedom. But imagine being in a place that was full of every bully that you ever met. Every person that was there is that bully that you knew in school. And the entire prison was made up of that. What would you learn how to do? You'd learn how to stand up for yourself. You would learn how to not fear others. Correct? You would probably learn not to care about what people think of you. There's a lot that can be gained. A lot of skills. A lot of growth to the spirit that can be gained from being oppressed. Now, personally, again, this is my preference, I don't agree with it, with oppression. Although I understand what can come of it. I believe that people should be free. Okay, that's what I believe. Believe that the higher self, guardian angels, God, whatever you want to call it, can probably teach people the same lessons in a free society. So I prefer to see, a future where we can enjoy, the things that we're learning without having to oppress other people. And something else I really hate, and I've always hated it, and it's probably something I have to work past. I hate bullies. I really hate bullies, okay? I also hate liars that manipulate others. And when I see cops, or I even see victims doing it, and, people get on my case a bit about, again, I'm going on a tangent here, a bit about, like, the big one was the head of the Police Oversight Committee, okay? Because he's black and I got on him, I was now a racist. No, the guy bullshitted. He tried to use his authority. He was definitely having an attitude. And, again, the cop was having an attitude. Both of them were wrong. But I'm going to say the black guy's wrong, okay? I'm going to. And I'm sorry. Maxine Waters is privileged. Okay? She is. And I picked her to say that she's privileged because she is black. The point of the matter is, and this is the point I was trying to make to people, is it doesn't matter what color you are. You can be privileged no matter what color if you are one of the lawmakers, if you're one of the elites, you are privileged. Doesn't matter. And that was really the point I was trying to make with that video. Exactly. Remember, reality is our concepts, Collins. Okay? Reality is. Gilman says, 100% with you. Stray Dog, the exposer. Our morals come from God. That's why we don't have to be told it's wrong to murder. God's conscience is already a part of us. Keith Owen Perry, I got a love-hate relationship with cops, going to court next month for a ball hits obstruction ticket. Well, stop obstructing your balls, dude. Keep your balls where they belong, okay? Straight talk, Keith. They use those excuses to extort the citizen. All right, guys. I'm going to call this a video. I intend to do another one here fairly soon, okay? Don't worry. It won't be as long this time. But really, I just kind of had to really focus in on it. And I think I'm going to, we'll take a look at, I know there was a lot of things that I said I was going to talk with you guys. I got to get my mind now working, thinking along the lines of metaphysics again. I kind of took, if anybody has studied like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn or Hermeticism, you'll see that they talk about, there's a period of time when you go beyond. Okay, it's the hermit phase where you start to let your mind wander, and you start to get realizations, and you start to reorganize your paradigm, your reality. And once you get the concept in your mind, you then have to come back into the physical. Okay, you now have to become a part of the world again. And the reason that you do that is so you can actually manifest it. You can now adjust your personality, adjust your thought processes in real life, be able to act and react with the paradigms, the realizations that you've gained while you're going through the hermit phase. Is that making sense to y'all? So I kind of went pretty deep with my last realizations, the dreams and stuff, and I told you guys about those. So now has been a time to start to bring those into reality. Now I've got to what? Get my mind back flowing along those particular avenues. Metaphysical, shall we say. All right. One last question. Go for it if you guys have it. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Guys, thanks for coming. I hope I was able to help. If you guys get questions, make sure to put it in comments. I will start watching those again, and I'll make sure to answer them. Thanks.